Sonic Frontiers has been pretty controversial ever since the announcement back in, oh my god, that was last year, Jesus. With many people voicing criticisms like it being simply an asset flip on a basic Unreal map, and it just doesn't look fun to play. This mishmash of gameplay just doesn't look too engaging compared to previous Sonic games. And while some of those complaints may have slightly made it through into the final product, Sonic Frontiers really is a game that you need to play to actually understand. It's when you get that sense of flow going in the game, going from platforming challenge to platforming challenge, into combat sections, to some mini-bosses, into cyberspace. Combining all these things together creates a wonderful sense of flow. That's when the game really truly begins to shine. I have a lot to say about my experience completing Sonic Frontiers over the 20 hours of gameplay that I experienced. During this time, I 100%ed the main story, including getting the 100% screen of all the islands, doing all the cyberspace and all that stuff. Well, I've still yet to max out Sonic's stats because of an issue that I'll get to later. I had a really fun time with Sonic Frontiers overall. So right now I'm just going to talk about it and talk about things that I find interesting, things that could be improved, and things that I really enjoyed here. So without further ado, let's get right into it. But first, if you've been enjoying the content, please consider subscribing because we're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers and it'd be pretty cool to reach that by the end of the year. But not to waste any more of your time, back to the video. Starting off, I just think that Sonic feels really good to control in this game. While this control scheme isn't without its flaws, it's definitely the best Sonic has felt to control in an open space since I want to say the adventure games, because I'm not too fond of the Sonic Heroes controls. If I were to voice my gripes with the open world controls, however, I think that Sonic stops after using a lightspeed dash, which really doesn't feel that good and it just feels really unnatural in actually playing the game. But it's also preceded by a lot of dash pads in the actual game, so it's not that big a deal, but it's something that should be addressed. Sonic's collision is also pretty wonky sometimes, he sticks to surfaces a lot, and there's just a bit of jank that comes with the general movement, but overall, I had a lot of fun just running around in an open space with Sonic, which is something I haven't been able to say since Sonic Adventure 2. Some other gripes include the air boost, which feels just a bit limp compared to the stuff we got in Forces, and even Generations and Unleashed for that matter. It just doesn't feel as powerful, but I really do like how you gain a bit of height with it, so you can use it to help out with platforming. That's about all I have to say on the controls, so let's move on for a bit and talk about the actual structure of the game. While the boost games are more focused on linear levels with high-speed thrills and action, focusing on your reaction time, in Sonic Frontiers the gameplay loop is actually pretty different here. In the open world, you attempt these platforming challenges that reward you with memory tokens that you can use to progress the story further and talk to friends, while also doing combat to defeat mini-bosses, to get portal gears, to get the Chaos Emeralds through portals that use the portal gears to unlock, which give you cyberspace levels, which gives you the vault keys which you need to unlock the emeralds. Wow, that was a lot. But all this results in a gameplay loop that feels really satisfying and natural as you chain together different actions. A lot of people have used the comparison of like a Tony Hawk skateboarding game, which I think is pretty accurate to describe the situation in Sonic Frontiers, as you chain together tricks, combos, platforming. It just all results in something that's just fun to play. And that's why I said you really have to play this game to fully truly experience it. But a big element of said gameplay loop is the cyberspace levels, which have been receiving a lot of praise from critics and criticism from the Sonic fanbase leading up to release, as a lot of people lauded them as the best part of the game with traditional linear Sonic action, and while others noted that the level design is ripped from other Sonic games, but yet done worse. So where do I stand on this issue? I'm pretty in the middle, because as of the late game, on the final island of the game, the cyberspace levels get really good, as these are all the original levels in the game, and they're just great. All these levels just really take advantage of Sonic's new physics in cyberspace. Said physics really don't work with the levels you imported from Generations, but they do work if you create original level design around it, as shown by the city level that everyone was enamored by, and a lot of other levels late in the game. However, before that, to get there, you have to get through a lot of these sloggy levels that just aren't that fun to play. Like, take an example of the drift level from Unleashed that they took, but yet made worse because the drift implementation here is pretty bad. Or the 2D Sky Sanctuary level, which is just platforming, and it's just not fun. While nowhere near as egregious as it could have been, cyberspace is really not my ideal format for what special stages should have been in this game. Now, I'm really not opposed to the idea of having linear stages as the shrines from Breath of the Wild, but I do think they should have been handled with a bit more originality rather than just ripping level design from older games, and there definitely should have been more than 4 level themes. And plus, most of the one you see is just Green Hill, when other level themes like the city level are just so much cooler. Cyberspace is really where it shows that Sonic Team had a few budget constraints and time constraints with this game, and nowhere is that more telling than the 4th island of the game. Now, past this point, this review will be going into spoilers for the game and the final boss, so tune out if you don't want to hear any of that. You sure you want to continue past this point? Think about it. Well, don't say I didn't warn you, so here we go. The 4th and 5th island of Sonic Frontiers are based on the same visual themes and motifs as Kronos Island. Now this is really disappointing because a lot of people were looking forward to the 5 marketed islands, when in reality it's more like 4, at best 4.5. The 4th island, Rhea, is just climbing 6 towers with different platforming challenges. While the platforming isn't that bad on them, it's just really disappointing, and it really just shows that they ran out of time by the end here. You see all the space and all these locations and visuals, and Rhea Island is really beautiful, and that's where most of the trailer shots were even located for Kronos before we got actual gameplay. But the thing is, it's just sad that this all went to waste. And Uranos Island isn't much better. It is better because it's like an actual island, and the challenges on there might even be a bit better than Chaos Island, but at the end of the day, it's just disappointing because it's still just the same visual themes as Kronos. And it still is pretty flat, it might be the flattest one of them all, but none of that even compares to the true final boss. Now the final boss for players playing on normal and easy mode is Supreme, which is a pretty decent fight, although I think he goes down a bit too fast, maybe a bit too easy, but the song, I'm Here, was really good in that battle. I think it was pretty cool. And then, when Phase 2 was about to start, I was like, oh my god, this is about to be so hype, and then turns out, it's just Galaga. That's it. It's the same hacky minigame as before, which, like, kinda makes sense thematically, but, like, this sucks. This is so anticlimactic after the rest of the battles in this game have been literally the best in the series. There were so many better ways to end this game. Like, they could have just swapped this and the Knight, and that would have made it so much better. That's it. That's all they had to do, but nope. Instead, we got this. And the last thing I'll touch about is the graphics and the music of the game. Now, the graphics are actually pretty great. I think the game looks really good, except for the massive amounts of pop-in. And the art direction as well isn't the best the series has seen, definitely not by a long shot, because the floating rails in the sky just don't look that natural. And the same copy and pasted assets do really get tired after a while, but the islands themselves look pretty good, and the new assets they made look nice. Although they might have copy and pasted the same temple design a bit too much for my liking. However, the game looks good, but definitely could have used some help in the pop-in department. And the music of this game? Oh boy, it's amazing. It's easily one of the best Sonic soundtracks probably ever made. I love this game's soundtrack, down from the island themes, which are beautiful, rich, deep, and complex when they need to be, and they're very emotional, and the cyberspace levels have this great EDM feel to them. It really seems like they perfected what they were going with Forces. Tomoyo Otani did a great job on this soundtrack, and the vocal themes as well are amazing. Each one of the Titan themes slaps in their own way. Dear Father, or I'm pretty sure that's what the song is called at the end, was really emotional. And also, One Way Dream is easily my new favorite vocal theme of the series. While Sonic the Hedgehog has a lot of great vocal themes, I really do think this game takes the cake. Regardless of the drawbacks this game suffered from either a lack of budget, a lack of time, or even both, I still think it turned out really great. The true highlights of the game were definitely the bosses, especially the Titan fights. I'm pretty sure that the end of the night, it might just be the best moment in the series. I absolutely love this. At the end of the day, Frontiers is probably just the good game before the great game, so hopefully Sonic Team doesn't abandon this foundation like they did with Sonic Lost World, and hopefully we can get a truly amazing game next. But at the same time, what we have here is perfectly great. I think this game is an 8.5 out of 10, and I really wouldn't mind playing it again. I think it didn't disappoint me, and while others might disagree with that, let them. It's their thoughts, their opinions. So go out there, play some Sonic Frontiers, because I urge you to support this company, because they can make great things. It's just sometimes they just don't get the time or money needed. So let's hope they get that next time. And with that, that's it for me, Davron, signing off.